DJ Payne 1.
This interview is sponsored by Truth Is LLC. We're live from the Gym Complex. Is the real truth. Today we're sitting here and we're going to come and we're going to talk about a very, very, very important subject. As you all know, I've done quite a few interviews with some great, amazing people. This is one of the interviews that I was looking forward to because I feel like it's something that we desperately need in our community. And I feel it's something that we don't talk about enough. I feel like it's something that those who have gone through it, maybe you feel like it's not something that you should speak on. We're going to be very transparent today in our conversations. I'm going to share my story. And before I get into that, let me introduce my guest who I'm very thankful for him sitting down and contributing to this episode. Had just done an interview with him about a month and a half ago. But welcome back. Introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I am Legend Beats, Government Troy Williams, out of Lawrence, South Carolina.
Welcome, good brother. Welcome. So, we're sitting down and we're talking about mental health, and what I wanted to do when we sat down with this interview. A lot of times in interviews and when people are talking about certain subjects, they want to throw out a bunch of numbers. But I don't want to throw out a lot of statistics because what I've been finding with statistics is a lot of it is region-based and a lot of it doesn't really take in the whole population.
I feel like statistics, they just back up whatever the person's want to say anyway. You know what I'm saying? They're going to find a statistic to match whatever they want to say. So I don't really fool with statistics like that.
Right. So what I wanted to take it from a standpoint of not just statistics that the government shares or that's shared nationally, but personal things that we've seen, that we can see in the black community, we've seen in our own personal families. Those are the real statistics that I want to talk about. So when I started noticing, and you can give me your input, when I started really noticing a decline in mental health, that was more so on a wider scale for myself and personally for others around, was really as COVID started rolling in. When people started getting more confined to being home and sadly maybe interacting with some people who potentially contributed to their mental health declining.
Yeah, I can speak. I think it got worse with COVID, but I think it's problems that been there. You know what I'm saying? It just got magnified. Like you say, you may have been around people that trigger it, or just make it bigger because you in that confined space. You can't move around. Really, you can't. It's like now you can't get away from it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'll say COVID really took a toll mentally on a lot of people. But I seen signs of it before COVID. Not as many and not as drastic, but it's been a problem. It's been a problem.
Yeah. So and just seeing that, and some of you have shared with me as well, like some of your personal stories, whether it's the injustices that you're seeing at the hands of the police, seeing that repeatedly, it started to really take a toll on some people's mental health. Seeing and maybe it's a court case or stuff like that that triggers people.
A thing that it do too, it desensitizes you. You know what I'm saying? Like you see it over and over, and it's like you get to the place where your mind is telling you this is normal, right? When this is not normal. You know what I'm saying? But the constant playing and constantly seeing it just desensitizes you to the point where, you know what I mean, it's just normal. You know what I'm saying? And you look at it like, hey, another person died. You know what I mean? So
but that's how I wanted to set this conversation up. And as we segue into really the heart of the conversation, I'm gonna start with sharing with you all my story. And I shared the memory this week. It was hard to believe it's been a year. So last year, I had a huge bout with mental health where I had honestly lost my will to live. And during that, I was assigned a therapist. Shout out Monique. I've also referred several of you who've reached out to her as well. Top-notch lady. And this is what I will say, because I'm talking to everybody about their mental health, but mainly what I want y'all to take from this conversation, we talking to our people.
Yeah.
When I say that, we're talking to our black community right now.
Yeah.
About your mental health. And what I mean by that specifically is because get you a therapist that looks like you.
Yes.
They're going to understand it. I done been to therapy before and it wasn't helpful. But this time when I went, I got a therapist who looks like me. So I say that to say, going through therapy, one of the things I ended up being diagnosed with PTSD, level 4 PTSD, which was the grade of a frontline military soldier. And like I told you at the outset, we're going to be very transparent with this conversation. Some of the things that I endured in my childhood, I had masked because I was thinking about them with my childhood in mind. But my therapist did this process and helped me to uncover. She was like, it's going to be really painful, but the only way we're going to be able to get you past this is called a tap out. So basically what you do, you tap opposite sides of your leg to stimulate the side of your brain that shuts things off that you try and forget. And when it stimulates it, she talks you through, it's like a light hypnosis through a traumatic moment. And it's extremely painful because some of these things that I went through were embarrassing. I endured abuse, molestation, went through all of it, and then some of the people that you voice these things to when you're a child and you're not believed, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of that, it kind of makes you kind of like calloused, desensitized to a lot of people's feelings, like Troy had said earlier. And then also it makes you regret a lot of people. So dealing with all of this stuff, suppressing it, stuff I went through in the streets that I bought on myself, suppressing that, it just, over the years, it just depleted my mental health. And it caused me to lash out on certain individuals. And for a while, I just went into a state where I wasn't around people. I was just in the house. But I would say this, and this is not cliche. This is not me embellishing or trying to make something bigger than what it is. My therapist saved my life. She did. She saved my life. And I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. One of my homeboys came by, shout out Rain, and he had came by one day and he had asked me to go somewhere with him, and I didn't go. And when I walked back in my house in my garage, one of my thoughts was blow my head off. Like, it had got that bad. You know what I'm saying? And as a man, you talk like, yo, you weak. But I'm here to tell you, like, anybody who know me know, like, ain't nothing weak about me. You know what I mean? But if you don't deal with your mental health, you don't got to worry about being weak, man, because you ain't going to be here. Like, you're not. It would drive you crazy. So I'm a huge advocate for mental health. It's not making you weak. Go get it taken care of. I had a strong support system around me to help me through it. I appreciate each and every one of you all. But it's just something that I tell people, because whether you want to talk about it or not, and this is a very touchy subject, most black families coming up around the 80s, 90s, you come from a big family. It's good, but in those big families, what's not discussed a lot is molestation and abuse.
Yeah.
And my therapist brought out a point, and I'm going to tell y'all something, and I don't care if 1,000 people look at this and it only impacts one. The mission's accomplished. But my therapist told me that one of the things you got to think of, not to make an excuse for the abuser, But in our households, back then, everybody played such a pivotal point in the house. Like, say, mom, dad, brother. So in any given moment, if that happens in a household, they have a split decision to make. Do I break up my household? Do I prosecute my loved one?
Mm-hmm.
Do I stir this up? Because sometimes it happens too where people are dishonest. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you got people just dealing with all this, and then, we naturally don't really trust the police.
Yeah.
So it's like, we just go keep this in house, and we'll say this, hey, don't leave him around your kids.
Yeah.
When you hear old folks saying that, it's a reason.
And see, we heard it a lot.
Yeah.
But then another thing you got to look at too is, like, if most abusers have been abused.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, their trauma came from somewhere too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, and it's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Abuse is abuse, and
Right.
it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not an excuse, but we've got to recognize the causes. You know what I'm saying? So if you have that big family, you know what I'm saying, and you got that weird uncle, you know what I mean? Okay, what happened to that uncle to make him the weird uncle? You feel me? Like, what happened to him? So we gotta trace that thing all the way back when we really trying to, you know what I'm saying, get to the root of it. You feel me? So that's not to cut you off, but
that's great.
That's another, like, big issue. You know what I'm saying? Abusers that were abused, and it's a cycle. Like, and we've got to break that cycle. Find a way to break that cycle.
We have to. 2 points I want to make on that. Excellent point, Troy. Fathers, don't. And I've heard people say this, and I've said it in the past. Like, if my son, let's say I had a young son and he slept with an older woman, my conversation with him would be much different than it was if my daughter was sleeping with an older man. But we got to stop normalizing that too. Wrong is wrong.
It's still abuse.
It's still abuse.
You know what I'm saying? But we came up in a era that was like a badge of honor.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we didn't know that, like,
nah,
we out here getting abused. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we was in high school, you had the dude that slept with the teacher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we'll feel like, hey, he out there getting it. You know, he doing this, he doing that. Yeah. But really, he being abused. You feel me? Like, he's being abused, and we allowing it to happen. You know what I'm saying? We're allowing it to happen. So
so definitely stop normalizing that it's okay. No, it's not okay. Anybody who does that. And then also, Troy made a good point, and I was having this conversation with someone, and I said, and he cleaned that up. He said, nah, I'm not saying this is an excuse, because that's what I was saying. That's one of the things that prosecutors was talking about, and R. Kelly's defense team tried to bring up. Well, he was abused as a child, this, and this. Me and one of my siblings went through abuse. We didn't come up doing that. You still got a choice you make, or you need to get help with what's going on with whatever you got going on. And you know what I'm saying? And another thing is, like, you have to look too for signs of parents who may not be there mentally themselves. Again, a point Troy was making. Step in. Be like, hey, man, they might not be okay. We might not want them alone with kids. Like, see what we can do there. Just don't ignore the signs. And we're going to talk a little more about what signs we can pick on as the conversation moves on. But that was my story from last year. I don't miss a therapy appointment. I used to go to therapy 3 times a week. Then it went down to twice a week. Then once a week. But now I'm going every other week. But if I feel off at any point, as a lot of y'all know, April the 10th, I suffered a severe injury. Been down 4 months. But the thing about it, my mental, I immediately felt like me slipping into, like, sliding back. I called my therapist immediately. Like, hey, I need an appointment. She like, let's do it. Like, let's, whatever you need, let's talk it through. You got to have somebody on your side like that. You know, you have to. because it's too much going on in the world. And again, some people think, nah, and you done seen it posted up where they be like, check on your strong friends. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Check on your strong friends, for real.
I'm telling you, that's a big thing. Like, and I have to check my mental a lot of times because I am that strong person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm that person that everybody feels like they can go to. Everybody feels like Troy give you the answer. He'll help you through it. He'll walk you through it. But at the same time, I have to check myself sometimes, like who's walking me through it. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna when I'm empty? Who's feeling replenishing me? Right. You know what I'm saying? So I have to check that sometimes. And another thing that helped my mental is sometimes I gotta say no. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I can't help you. I'm not, and I tell people now, like, I'm not in a mental state to help you. You know what I'm saying? I can't help you because I'm in this dark place myself. You know what I'm saying? So I need to get out of this dark place before I can talk to you about your problems. Before I can be there for you, I've got to get myself right. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of things we need to look at as being that strong friend.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That strong friend sometimes just calling that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, as I went through what I went through, like, the other day somebody just hugged me in the store. They didn't know I was in a dark place, but they helped me. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew somebody cares. You know what I'm saying, about what I'm going through.
Right.
And I can take, even if it was just a 10-second hug, I got 10 seconds of peace. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now I'm ready to go back. You know what I'm saying? But always be there for the strong friend too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. And you perfectly segued us into the conversation further, because that's what I was going to tackle into next. So we're going to kind of talk about briefly 521. You suffered a tragedy in your family.
Yeah.
But before you answer that, I want to say this, because people are not going to believe this. I'm going to let Troy tell y'all about the tragedy he suffered. From 521, if you follow him on social media, every day Troy posts something of positivity.
Yeah.
You can do it. Outwork everybody. Whatever it is, that's his message daily. But what I wanted to ask you is, how do you still find motivation to do that after what you've gone through?
Because I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still here. And I really find that motivation through my family. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a amazing family.
You do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, we tight. We're there for each other. I can call my sister anytime and she'll talk to me for hours. I don't care what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what got me through it. And through it all, I'm still here. I still have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And that's why every day I try to post something that's positive, something that'll reach somebody, because just like in that store, somebody walked up to me for 10 seconds and gave me 10 seconds of relief. What if my post gives somebody 10 seconds to rethink killing themselves, to rethink beating their child, to rethink giving up? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do it. That's why I post every single day. You know what I'm saying? Even when I suffered my tragedy, I still don't think I missed a day.
You were still rolling.
I was still rolling it because like I'm gonna get through mine. You know what I'm saying? I'm strong enough. I'm gonna get through mine. And like I say, that foundation is rooted in my family. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do anything without my family. I wouldn't be the person that I am without my family. Everything that you see in me, that's from my brothers feeding into me, my mama feeding into me, my daddy feeding into me, aunts, uncles, you know what I'm saying? Just feeding into me positivity. You know what I'm saying? So like, That's the only answer I have, man. I have a amazing support system.
That's beautiful, man, and it means a lot. And hey, I'm gonna give you your flowers. You motivated me sometimes reading that. Like, just when you be like, outwork everybody. Like, it makes me feel like I'm not doing enough. I gotta do more. Yeah. Like, go harder. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, tell them a little bit about May 21st.
Well, that was a dark day for me. First, let me tell you about the person my daughter was before we talk about the tragedy of her life. Let's talk about the goodness of her life. She was an amazing child. Never had any problems out of it. She was stubborn now. She had her stubborn moments, but as far as a person, I'm telling you, anybody that met her and seen the real her, they knew she was the most giving, the most loving. You know what I'm saying? She always put other people first. So, and if you go back and look at her posts, she's always positive. She's always meditating. She's always into the spiritual. So, like, she was an amazing person. You know what I'm saying? Had a good head on her shoulders, had degrees, went to school, did everything that she made me proud as a father. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did everything that a father would want out of their child. But see, this thing doesn't have a respect of person. This mental illness doesn't have a respect of person. You know what I'm saying? So my child can be all of that, but that mental illness can still take a hold of her. You know what I'm saying? So now we can talk about that day. It was, we got to go back a little further because at the beginning of the year, me and my wife started seeing stuff in my daughter that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? We didn't ignore the signs. So we started to try to get her help. She started having like delusions and started like really going down this thing with this mental health. So she moved back home, and we had to get her into a mental health facility. It got that bad. You know what I'm saying? Where she was just not herself. So fast forward, we got her into the mental health facility. And this is where I blame the system. This is where I blame the system, because my daughter checked in. She was there for 3 weeks. She got out on the 12th. My daughter was dead by the 21st. Damn. You know what I'm saying? So when she went, they were supposed to like give us information on what her diagnosis was, how to care for her when she comes out. My wife was supposed to go to, they have like a little hearing when they're letting patients out. So at that hearing, my wife was supposed to be there to get all the information. That never happened. My wife got there. They told my wife a certain time to be there. She got there. She was there before that time. And they just released. They had the hearing with my daughter without any supervision, without anybody there. So they let her out. And the very first night that she was home, we knew that it was no change in her. She was still doing the things that we had her evaluated for. So
the same night she came home.
The same night she came home. The same night she came home. So that next day, my wife called and she was like, "This isn't right." You know what I'm saying? So they were like, "Well, that's odd," and that was their answer.
Now let me ask you this:
that was their answer.
Did they prescribe her any medication?
Yes, but they gave it to her. She had the medication walking out of the building. We didn't know what the medication was. We didn't know anything about the medication. We didn't know anything. You know what I'm saying? So like, that was the crazy thing. So from then on, we're on it, trying to get her help. Those 9 days felt like years. You know what I'm saying? Because like, we were trying our best to get her help. We went to the mental health place in Lawrence.
Right.
And a few days before this happened, I took her to her appointment. And we went to the appointment. We're talking to the counselor, and on our way home, she had an episode. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm driving and she wants to get out of the car while the car is moving. You know what I'm saying? So I have to like pull her in the car and try to drive at the same time to get home stopped so she won't hurt herself. So I call back to the mental health place and I tell them, I'm like, this is what happened.
Right.
Their response to me was, well, take her to the hospital. And I said, okay, I'll take her to the hospital, but when I get there, what do I say? Well, she has to want to get admitted. And then I'm like, well, she's not going to do that. She already told me I'm not going back there, this, that, and the third. So then she said, well, if she hasn't hurt herself or somebody else, then there's nothing we can do. That was their answer to me. So again, fast forward to the 21st. Now that day, my daughter was calm. She was, you know what I'm saying? She was actually doing things normal. My wife had came out to my building where I was working, and she was like, well, we're getting ready to go. And I was like, she was like, yeah, Kayla say she want to go too. They were going to celebrate my niece's birthday. So they went, say they had a good time, but say she was like emotional, real emotional there. So come back, and we have cameras on our house. So this is why the timestamp sticks with me. So at 7:57, my wife walks past my daughter playing on the front porch, like with the little TikTok videos and just happy. My daughter made a 911 call at 8:00. Damn. She was having delusions again. She thought someone was breaking into our house. She was seeing someone break into our house. She told the operator, she described, and this is how I know that she was having delusions, because some of the same stuff she said on the 911 call, she had been telling us that this car was following her. This person was this person was that. So she called him. We had no idea what was going on at this point, because my wife has a craft shop on the side of the house, and I have a recording studio at the back of the house. So my wife is in her craft shop. I'm in my recording studio. So I start hearing, like, when the car came up, when the police car came up, they just hit the siren like one time, just like a little, you know what I'm saying?
Let you know they there.
Let you know they there. But at this time, I'm at the back of the house. I'm hearing it, but this is the thing. My daughter would walk around outside playing her phone. And it would be stuff like that on the phone. So I'm thinking, okay, let's just in the back, because she loved to walk around the house. She loved the woods. So I'm thinking she's outside. That's just something playing on her phone. So I'm continuing to work, do what I do. And then I hear gunshots. And at that point, I'm still not in panic mode, because I'm still thinking, I'm like, what's going on? But I'm not in panic mode, because in my mind, it's still just Kayla with the phone. So I get up, and you can see this on the video, that I get up and I walk. I'm not running. I'm not panicked. I walk around to the front of the house. But then when I get to the front of the house, I see my daughter on the ground. And I see the police shooter. And that's something that I got to live with for the rest of my life. I seen my daughter get killed. And it's hard. But that was hard. That was hard.
Yeah.
But you know the hardest part, Brett? And I ain't told too many people this story. But the hardest part was once it happened, it felt like everybody had their own agenda about it. And I don't know if we were gonna get into this, but this is something.
Nah, man, hey, shit thing.
I seen the ugly side of activism.
Hey,
I seen the ugly side of activism. And what I mean by that was the whole time I know that my daughter had a mental illness. Right. I know that. You know what I'm saying? I live with that every day. And at this point, we don't know what happened because we hadn't seen the tape. We hadn't heard the 911 call. We had none of that. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what happened. So we go, and man, I'm telling you, I had people coming to me like, let's go protest. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And I'm like, man, listen, I understand. I understand. But I hadn't even buried my daughter yet.
Absolutely.
I'm not in that mind frame. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can do it. I'm not telling y'all not to do it. But I ain't there yet.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not there yet. And the biggest thing was this. Through all of that, I still gotta have integrity.
You do.
You feel me? So like everybody was just on us. What we gonna do? I'm talking about calling all the lawyers that you see on TV and all of that.
Sure.
People are calling them on our behalf and stuff like that. And I'm telling them, listen, this is not. If you look at any of my interviews, every time I started with my daughter is not just a headline.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if people didn't know what I meant by that, I want to explain it now. See, we could have had all those people down here, and doing all those things. But at that point, I didn't know if the police did anything wrong or not. You know what I'm saying? So like, and my thinking is this. I've got to be prepared. My family got to be prepared that everything they're saying Kayla did, that she really did do.
Bro, you know how deep that shit is, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sitting here like that shit gave me chills. No fake shit. The fact, do you know how many people could not say that? That because of the tragedy and loss, they want to blame somebody then. And
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now that night, excuse my language, but I wanted to burn the fucking city down.
I can imagine
that night.
Absolutely.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you. Let's go back to that night though. I've gotta acknowledge my other daughter, Destiny, because in the middle of all that, this is what I'm talking about, family, and having a strong family. In the middle of all that, she seen me losing it. She seen me like ready to just go. You know what I'm saying? And she grabbed me, and I'm still just shaking. And she grabbed my face and make me look her dead in the eye, and she say, "Daddy, you got other kids here that needs you.
What?
You have other kids. Don't leave us."
That's that foundation you laid.
You know what I'm saying? Don't leave us.
That's that foundation.
Because if I had went out there and just wild out, it would have been 2 bodies in the yard. You know what I'm saying? And but see, at that time, I didn't care. I was ready for that. I just wanted somebody to feel what I felt. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, I gotta acknowledge my daughter because, like you say, your therapist saved your life. At that time, my daughter saved mine.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, but back to the activism. Brett, they was coming out of the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like I say, at that point, I'm looking at it like, let's say we call all those people, right? They come down, they do this, they do that, and then everything the police saying she did. Guess what them people can do? They can pack up and leave.
Yep.
They've never got to face anybody else in my community, but I've got to.
You got to.
I live here.
You do.
You know what I'm saying? So, we went, we watched. They showed us pictures, and they gave us the opportunity to watch the tape. But our lawyer watched it. We seen the pictures. We seen everything, and we heard the 911 call. We heard that it was her voice. We seen the pictures of her going at the police. You know what I'm saying? Because in her mind, now the police is coming to get her, not just the person that's breaking in the house, because she's having a mental breakdown. She had, and I don't know if I've said what her mental illness was, but she had a form of schizophrenia. So, like I said, at that time, she's thinking that they're doing it. So I seen all that. My wife seen all that. And at that moment, I was at peace. I wasn't at peace with the situation. I wasn't at peace with the outcome, but I was at peace because now I had the answer. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm going back and I'm having people questioning, like, well, why he ain't doing this? Why their family ain't doing that? Why they, you know what I'm saying? And they don't know all the facts. They don't know what happened. Like, I would have felt crazy going out there and saying that. Well, let me first say this. I do believe that my daughter should still be here. I'm not totally absolving anybody of anything, because I feel like it's other things that could have been done. But at the same time, this wasn't the typical police shooting. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? I can't have that on my conscience, that I'm going out here acting like, oh, the police just pulled up and they shot my daughter. That's not what happened. You know what I'm saying? It's not what happened. As much as it hurt me to say that, as much as the pain of losing a child, boy, not just the pain of losing the child, the pain of watching your child die. You know what I'm saying? That's a different type of pain. All of that. But I still can't lie and say it was something that it wasn't, and it just wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? It and what I had been saying to the families that actually went through that. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. How am I? And all that played into it. So I just shut the whole thing down when people started coming and talking about, after I seen what I seen. Listen, we're not out here protesting. We're not out here doing that. We're not doing, you know what I'm saying? It's that would be counterproductive.
But I want to take one moment before I ask you this question, and then we transition. This again is why I tell people, and I told them in your last interview, Hidden Gem in South Carolina. This again goes to all of that. Like, why you sat here, you talked about this tremendous tragedy. Like, I couldn't even imagine seeing that, witnessing that. Through it all, you still found positivity.
Yeah.
You still found integrity.
Yeah.
You still like, listen, this may be what y'all want to do, but I know this ain't the right thing, but I want to ask you this from this standpoint. And I don't want you to call any names. You don't have to. If you do, whatever. But when you said my daughter's having mental issues, I saw y'all posting about that.
Yeah.
Like she had mental issues. Them same activists who came to you when they thought what happened that they could push that to get them some shine. Did they circle back around and say,
No.
hey, can I partner with you? Let's
No.
do something about
No.
mental health. Let's do mental health awareness.
Listen. I got to shout out Derek Quarles.
Shout out Derek.
He was there regardless. You know what I'm saying? Nothing made him waver.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To this day, we still in contact. We still talk. So I got to shout that out. You know what I'm saying? But the rest though, I didn't see him. I didn't see him at the funeral.
Yeah.
I didn't see him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
None of that. And I'm not only gonna shout out Derek Quarles. I'm gonna shout out Rhonda Gary from down in Lawrence. She did a lot. I'm not saying that people didn't do anything, but the people that I'm talking about are these activists that reached out when they thought it was one thing, but disappeared when they found out it was another.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like now it's like, okay, you good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me that's the ugly side of activism.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not even mad that they didn't come back. I'm mad that they came in the first place. Because before anything was solid.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm mad that they wanted a certain outcome regardless of my pain. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy to me that they wanted to again make my daughter a headline, and she was much more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
She was much more than that, and I won't reduce her to that. And again, I won't get out here saying something that's not true. You know what I'm saying? It's not. We've seen it so many times, and it's not saying that it doesn't happen. It's not saying that any of those things that happened before have less credibility or any of that. It's just saying that this wasn't that.
That wasn't that.
And it's nothing else I can't say it was.
Well, man, I've told you, hey, so sorry for your loss.
Appreciate it.
When it happened, it was just almost unbelievable because I had literally saw you the week before.
Yeah,
literally just saw you, and I didn't know your daughter personally, but I saw the TikTok videos that people had posted. Yeah, beautiful soul. One with nature, you could tell.
That's what I'm telling you.
It's unfortunate whether it happened at the police hands. However we feel, there were things, and this transitioned perfectly. When you see signs, help people out. And
help people.
The communities too. And when I talk, that's why I'm so hard on activists. You all know that if y'all know me, I'm hard on our activists around here because we do a lot of reactivism. See, being proactive would have been, if you really wanted to help out when you're doing this and you're wearing that jacket as an activist, hey, let's see what we can do. You take a situation like this and you start laying the foundation to what programs can we get to help the community? Who can we get people in contact with? Is there a network of therapists that we could start recommending it that may partner with something? That's how you start setting the standard of how we help our community and help our families, not just when we could potentially tack ourselves onto a headline. Then we want to rear our head. That's not activism. And I won't ever respect
totally
that.
Not activism. And like, I feel like, and I'm gonna say this now, and hopefully this video come out before some of the stuff that we start to do. When we start to, because I'm heavy on change now.
Absolutely.
I'm heavy on mental health and heavy on being a beacon for mental health. So I don't want anyone to circle back. once that starts to happen.
Absolutely.
Because then again, it'll be like
tacking yourself on.
You tacking yourself on to something when, hey, I reached out. I because this is the thing. I don't reach out to a lot of people. Hey, let's start a little board on this. Let's get to where. What is the funding for mental health? What kind of funding is out there for mental health? What kind of programs are out there for mental health? Let's partner on that. Let's do something that will really change things. I've reached out to people, and shout out to Andrika Godfrey. She's been helping me a lot. And it's a lot of people behind the scenes that have been helping me. But I'm telling you, the people that are in activism, some of them, I'm not gonna say all of them, but the people that are in activism, I ain't heard too much. You know what I mean? I'll be real, I ain't heard too much.
Yeah.
But, and that's sad. That's a sad situation that the activists now had this went the other way.
Oh, what?
Had this been a police shooting, a bad police shooting,
everything talking
it
about
had been on everything, but it's almost like our activists are waiting on death.
Damn.
Let's keep it 100.
Waiting on death.
They waiting on death. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not out in the communities actually trying to prevent the things from happening.
Reactivism.
Yeah, that's what they really need to name it. Reactivism. But you're not out in the community actually trying to prevent. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my homeboy, Man Ideal.
Shout out, Man Ideal.
And I'm gonna tell you why. He's not an activist, but every year he holds a Stop the Violence drive.
Dope.
Not just because somebody got killed, or not just having it in somebody's name that just got killed last week or something like that. No, he has it
his community
to better the community. Back to school drives, stuff that really is better in the community. So shout out to him. So man, like I say, that's my whole situation with the whole thing, man. And that's what happened. So it shouldn't be no questions no more.
Absolutely.
about what happened or how it happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, this is coming from her father's mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you what happened.
I'm just telling you what happened.
And that's it. That should be the end of the questions.
And that's man, again, that took a lot, bro. Like, for you to sit here and be able to, because that gave me chills. Real talk. Like, I can't apologize enough for this happening. And what you're saying too, any resources we have, our platform, because we look at what we can do as well to do more in the community. Anything we can do to partner, we'll talk offline. But one of the things I definitely wanted us to hit before we got out of here is, what are some warning signs? Did you notice any warning signs?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you a big warning sign for me was, and my wife too, was the isolation. Starting to isolate herself. Starting to like do things to the things that she loved wasn't fun to her anymore. So like seeing stuff like that, seeing like mood changes, seeing I'm gonna tell you something too though. Look for physical changes. Look for actual physical changes, because we look at pictures before she was dealing with that and pictures after. She actually had physical changes. Like physical features would change. So look at those signs. And like I say, the agitation, being more agitated than usual. She was always stubborn, but she got to a place where the stubbornness was, she could totally tune you out. You could be standing right here talking to her, and it's like you're not saying anything to her. And the fatigue. Look at that, just withdrawing from physical activity. And I'm gonna tell you some of the things that she did. She quit her job just out of the blue, with nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like she just, I don't want to work no more. She started getting. She was big into gaming. She sold all her games, and was just like getting rid of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big thing when you see that kind of change. That could be a sign. And just habits. We get accustomed to people doing certain things. Like, I know what my wife gonna do. You know what I'm saying? In most situations, I know her schedule. I know where I damn near know where she's gonna sit in the house. You know what I'm saying? When she's watching TV, I know where she's gonna sit. So be mindful of habits. When you see habits start to change, and they're doing stuff out of the ordinary. Like my daughter started, like she pierced all of her ears, like all around her ear. She just had like piercings. So that was something she wasn't into before, and just stuff all of a sudden like that. So I would say watch those signs. Anything that's out of the ordinary, question it. I don't care what it is. If you have that gut feeling like, hey, something ain't right with you. If they walk in the room and you feel like something ain't right with them, question it. That could save somebody's life, man. And get educated, because I feel like that's where we fail. Because we didn't fail as parents. I'm not saying failure in that sense. I'm saying failure in, I feel like we could have done more in educating ourselves, and just pushing. We could have done more. Not saying that it would have changed the outcome, and not saying that we failed as parents, because no, we didn't fail as parents.
Absolutely not.
But just getting to the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? When somebody is diagnosed with something, or you see those changes, type that into the computer and see what comes up. You know what I'm saying? What are these symptoms of? You know what I'm saying? And it'll give you a list, and just educate yourself on it.
Yeah, man. Great tips, great things to point out. Mine personally that I would share as well is lack of sleep, man. I was sleeping maybe 2-3 hours a night, and
that was big.
What happened with me is that I'm naturally an overthinker. I overanalyze everything. So now I'm trapped in my thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing and hearing stuff that's not there. I'm thinking people are saying and doing things to me that they're not doing.
Yeah.
Or they're meaning no ill will. But the medication they prescribe you to be able to sleep and cope with other things, they have these negative impacts on your body. Where you feel crazy. So it's like what do I do? You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. And one thing that I definitely wanted to share with everybody who go watch this interview, my therapist told me, if you talk to somebody, every time you say, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Stay on that person.
Because everything ain't good all the time.
It's not good, but they not comfortable, or they don't want to look weak telling you. She was like, there's no, if anybody tells you every day I'm good, they're lying.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not possible with what goes on now. They might not want to share it, but she was like, those are the people who really need the most help. Yeah. And I've been guilty. I would do that. I'm good. Oh, I'm good. Yeah, man, everything's good.
Yeah, you put up this front. Like you gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Because I go through that sometimes.
Bro, listen,
you know what I'm saying? Well, I've gotta be what people expect me to be.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it gets like, I just want to sit back. I don't want to. But the pressure of being what people expect you to be is crazy.
It
You
is.
know what I'm saying? Like, and I would tell people, stop putting that pressure on people, man, to be this super person all the time, because sometimes we not.
We not, man. And one of the most hurtful things, I'm gonna tell you this real shit, and is when you know you that person that check on everybody. I don't care if somebody tell me they got a cold. I'm gonna check on them every day.
Yeah.
You good? You straight? And then when you go through it, them same people want to say, bro, you good?
Nothing.
Bro, that shit hurt. I'm not gonna lie, that shit hurt.
Telling you, it hurt.
Yeah.
But see, we cope with it.
We do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Because it's in us.
It's in us, but we cope with it. Like, I may be down. I get down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I ain't down that long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Staying down.
I'm down for a day. I might be down for a day, but tomorrow I'm shaking it off and I'm going on.
For sure.
And it's not always healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always good. But sometimes it's all we got.
It's all we got, man. It's all we got. So listen, we gave y'all the warning signs. This has been a amazing try. I can't say thank you enough, my brother, for pulling up, man. This is something that we need. Our community, we need this. I just want everybody to just take a moment and let this sink in when you watch it. Like, get out of that mindset, oh, I'm weak, or this is embarrassing. We not supposed to express our feelings, especially men. You know, I'm telling you, man. And even when I shared my transparent post from what I went through last year, you would be surprised. And I did it because, again, my therapist told me, she was like, what I got from you and just knowing you as I work with you through the year, you're a leader. Share this story, you're going to impact somebody.
Yeah.
And when I shared it on Facebook, I got 5 DMs from people like, bro, I would have never thought you was going through something like this. Thank you for sharing. Do you know what I've been going through? Like, to know somebody like you who looks like everything is great, you living life. Yeah. I'm like, bro, like some days it was a struggle getting out of bed, leaving my house.
It be like that.
Yeah, so, yeah, man, if you share it, other people, you might help somebody, and I hope this is exactly what we did in this episode. It is the real truth. Shout out my man, I Am Legend Beats, Troy Williams, government name. You can also check us out. I'll let you know when this episode is dropping. IG at Is the Real Truth, at I Say Podcast, on Facebook, I Say Podcast. You can see it on now. I'm gonna put up when it's coming out. We'll also be dropping some snippets, so stay tuned. Mental health, if you have any resources that you want to recommend, or if you have any suggestions of what we can further our endeavors upon to increase the awareness in our community, please reach out. We're gonna make sure we put the information you can contact us with. I even have Troy send us his information. We're also gonna put his on there. Reach out to us. This is something serious that we really, and it's only gonna get worse. We see where the world is, what's going on. It's only gonna get worse. So we all we got, really, and we got to get back to that where we really look out for one another as a friend, as a brother, and not as an enemy and an op that's really programmed in us right now. So
kill that. That's what we need to kill.
We gotta kill
that whole mentality, man.
Absolutely.
Like you can't. You weak if you help your brother.
You weak if you help your brother.
Come on, man. Kill that.
Yep.
Kill that.
So again, we appreciate you all. Blessings.